All right, let's look at this GMAT question here. It says, is x an integer? And if x is an integer, is the 49 divided by that x an integer? So essentially what we're trying to do is we're looking at a scenario where we have 49 divided by some x. We're trying to determine if it's an integer. And let's kind of talk about quickly what an integer is. An integer is simply just kind of like a whole number, no decimals, no fractions, just a solid whole number is what we're talking about there. So you want to see if we divide this, do we get a whole number, no remainders, no decimals. So if we look at statement 1, in data sufficiency, we need to look at each statement separately. If we look at statement 1, it says that x is an odd number. Well, actually, before we start into that, one of the things you want to kind of do is think about what number could actually give us an integer. So one of the things you want to do with data sufficiency on the GMAT is you kind of, in some ways, want to have an idea of what kinds of things will make the question work before you start the question. So if it's asking me if 49 divided by something will give me an integer, you want to ask yourself, well, what things divided into 49 divided into 49 will give me an integer? Well, it will be one, the factors of 49, which is 7 and 7. Well, the factors of 49, which is 7 and 7, but also always remember 1 goes into a number and the number goes into itself. So essentially you have 1, 7s, and 49 are the only three things that would really give you an integer when divided into 49. So as a result of that, telling me here in statement 1 that x is an odd number, like 3, like 5, like 7, like 11. These are just examples. Looking at these four examples, this would work. If I divide 7 into 49, I will get an integer, but 3 would not work, 5 would not work, 11 would not work. Well, if you know anything about data sufficiency, you're looking for consistency of an answer. So if I look at this statement 1 and I look at x being an odd number, considering the fact that it could be any of these odd numbers, there's an issue with this answer because sometimes it works and sometimes it does not work. And in data sufficiency, we want consistency. I need them to all work or all not work. In this case, since it's kind of mixed, I need to go into my map here, my data sufficiency map here. Is statement 1 alone sufficient? No, it's not, because statement 1 alone is not sufficient because sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, and that's an issue. Let's look at statement 2. In statement 2, it says that x is between 10 and 20. That's how I like to read this because it's right in the center of 10 and 20, and in between 10 and 20. So what are the values that could potentially work for that? Well, we're looking at 11 through 19, pretty much are the values that would work here. So the question is, in the beginning, we determined that only 1, 7, and 49 would actually give me integers. The one thing we can be very clear about this 11 through 19 is that none of these guys, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, none of these guys will actually, when divided into 49, will give us an integer. So in this case, we consistently have no's all across. None of these guys will work. So actually in data sufficiency, even though this first one was a no because there was an inconsistency, here it's a yes. It's a yes because if you came to me and said, hey Olu, will 49 divided by x, using the second information, will it be an integer? I can emphatically tell you no, it will not be an integer. And that is an answer to the question. And that's the tricky part here with data sufficiency. It doesn't always have to be a positive answer, it just has to be a consistent answer. So really in statement 2, is statement 2 alone sufficient? Yes, it is, because it's a consistent no, because none of these numbers 11 through 19 will ever give me an integer when divided into 49 here. So as a result, using my map here, is statement 1 sufficient? No. Is statement 2 sufficient? Yes. So the answer is actually B. And B is the answer to this question. Thank you.